Is this Sinister Gambino here with a new video. And in this video, I'm going to be doing my leak video that I usually do for pretty much just about every Grand Theft Auto Online DLC. It's time for the Agents of Sabotage DLC. So, for those that for some reason do not know what a leak is, it's basically the upcoming contents for the DLC. So, if you want to go spoiler free into the DLC, I would turn away now, but that's the only warning that I'll give. So, first up, I'll go over stuff from TES2 at TES Funds 2 over on Twitter/X, basically. X, I like to call it. And then, first thing here is there is apparently 30 slots for vehicles for the DLC. Currently, however, only 10 of them are currently released, and the other 20 will actually kind of be tied to what will be the McKenzie Field Hangar, which is going to be a purchasable property basically later on for the trip feed. Sounds like they're basically going to be doing like a part 2 kind of DLC, which they've kind of been doing I think for a couple years now for like December DLCs. Like for example, 2022 was the last Santo's like Drug Wars DLC, and that one had like the last dose missions, for example, that came out like a couple months later on. That's kind of like a part 2, but did not require like a new downloadable update. Then last year with the Chop Shop DLC, they technically had the Cluckin Bell Farm Raid, was kind of like the part 2 for that. Again, did not require a new downloadable update, but was kind of like another big update in a way. Like a big miniature update kind of. This DLC seems to be apparently doing the same thing. This time it's going to be involving stuff with the McKenzie Field Hangar, some of which I may be going over in more details later on. So that is definitely sounding pretty cool. Though supposedly the slots are not actually for the McKenzie Field Hangars, that's not an actual hangar you'll be storing vehicles in, as I'll kind of go into a little later on as well. So yeah, it sounds like some new aircraft slots for once, which is definitely going to be pretty tight. Now you can finally, once that happens, own all of the like personal aircrafts, because I know right now you definitely cannot, because there's definitely more than 20 personal aircrafts that cannot be obtained for Pegasus and have to be stored in a hangar with actual customizations and whatnot. So sadly for me, I had to like remove stuff like the Alpha Z1 and whatnot, which means I'm not doing as good in like plane races on rare occasion if I ever do a plane race on like super rare occasion for like lap time or whatever. And then, yeah, that's just all day 1 vehicles there, nothing crazy there. That was the lock on jammer stuff, whatever. Here, police outfits, these will be coming for Trophy, because I'm pretty sure these are actually not in the game right now. All kinds of like ones, like winter themed ones, summer themed ones. For LSPD, there's winter summer for highway patrol, it looks like as well. And same as well actually with the park ranger, but just like when they did the park ranger exclusively for the 9th generation consoles for the actual park ranger vehicle that you can actually own, it seems the outfits as well, just like the vehicle, will be exclusive to the 9th generation consoles currently for PlayStation 5, Xbox Series X/S, whatever. And of course when the new version of the game does come over to PC, that should of course probably be getting those contents as well. And yeah, kind of a couple more things basically that are already in the game basically. Looks like there. And then Firebolt ASP, yeah, technically that's a drift vehicle. You can get early access to it, I believe, starting on Thursday here. Technically, since you need a 2nd week for like the priority file, which is like the one you can only do like 1 time basically for the like event week. That's on like a 2 times basically. So technically, if you are on the PlayStation 5, Xbox Series X/S, you should be able to unlock this early. Not really PC, obviously, because I don't have that version of the game yet, but still. And this is definitely a pretty interesting vehicle, as I will mention later on. But apparently it's available for $1,894,500. Alright, looks like a bunch of stuff that is not relevant here, but once I get here, yeah, Rockstar themselves have like a single paragraph from like the day one Rockstar Newswire talking about some of the drift feed. So sure, I'll go over some of this here as well, since it kind of pertains a bit, but technically it's official information. So, obviously festive gifts, those should be coming pretty soon, obviously, if not for the current event. That may be happening as soon as it gets uploaded or soon after or something. And then new stunt races apparently with a Lunar New Year twist. Lunar New Year, I believe, is a pretty early on thing for like January-ish or something, so those could be pretty soonish, kind of. I wouldn't necessarily say until next year, obviously, though, as the naming would suggest, though. There's apparently going to be new drift races. If you look on the computer, I think in like Dallas Carmi, you can actually see like the whole list of like drift vehicles. They've been doing like a couple new like drift vehicles, or at least they did last DLC, because I think Chop Chop actually introduced the drift vehicles, so there might have been like a few to several of them with the initial release of Chop Chop. There was a couple new ones, I believe, with the previous DLC, such as like the Nebula Turbo that they added back to the vehicle website when they did that. There's apparently 3 new drift tuning vehicles. I will be leaving Bruffy1322's YouTube channel basically in the description, since they did like a very good video on like the drift feed vehicles basically. And there's apparently going to be 3 new drift vehicles, just like there was last DLC. I believe one of them is the RUNE Cheburek, which I think recently got put back on the vehicle website since it did get support for the lock-on jammer in the current DLC. So even if you're not big on drifting, I do recommend that one, since it is one of those ones with the missile lock-on jammer. Now it's the latest DLC. You have the Jester Classic from like After Hours DLC. That was originally part of the previous DLC, but I believe because of like issues with it in that previous DLC, they pushed it back to After Hours, if I remember from drift feed from that update or whatever, back in like early 2018 to like mid 2018, whatever. So yeah, Jester Classic's apparently going to be a drifting vehicle. Definitely going to be a pretty iconic one, I imagine. And then also, the last one is the regular Futo. I think Futo GTX is already a drifting vehicle, so it's kind of weird, I feel, to have the regular one. But apparently the regular one's also going to have drifting, so I never knew Futo, never knew Jester when it comes to drifting, and then the RUNE Cheburek. So that's definitely going to be pretty nice if you're pretty big on the drifting. Yeah, that L Strickler currently in early access or plus. They pretty much already confirmed that for next month, for January. But it will be exclusive to 9th generation consoles. 8th gen will not begin in like the full release or anything. And obviously soon to be PC there, surely. And then Transform Race Tools coming to the Rockstar Creator apparently will be a thing. So I want to say that's probably going to be for the known unknown and the unknown unknown races, since they skipped out on that last DLC for $1 bounties for some reason. Maybe they did that because they did like the survival creator, like the zombies. I don't know. But regardless, I thought it was pretty weird they didn't do like known unknown for like the creator, race creator, like last DLC. So I feel they're probably definitely going to be doing it this DLC, because I don't know what else they would really do much with the Transform races otherwise. Hopefully, at least, because those are definitely some of the funnest races in the game, I definitely would say. That does it for that whole like paragraph to say some stuff there. Okay. Okay. So a bunch of like fluff kind of in between here, because I'm going for the actual like main pages on their Twitter / X accounts basically. McKenzie Field Hangar. Yeah, there's going to be an office there apparently where you can launch the Oscar Guzman Flies Again, which will be new missions essentially. I'll go more in detail with those later, kind of though. And yeah, it says it's not a unique hangar, which was basically what I said earlier. This is kind of confirmation here. It's just 20 additional slots for the existing hangars. So no, it does not sound like you get to own both a Fort Zancudo and a LSI. Unfortunately, I'm kind of not the most surprised that they're not monetizing like a second hangar. Maybe they just don't want people to be able to have like aircrafts that can spawn in both Fort Zancudo and LSI. I would have preferred to be able to actually just have the option to buy a second hangar, honestly, just to have the option to spawn aircrafts in LSI in addition to my usual Fort Zancudo, but still, regardless, more aircraft slots. Finally, man. Definitely something I wanted since at least the last year, maybe even a couple years, at least myself. And finally, should be able to have Pegasus vehicles again, more Pegasus vehicles than ever, even I would say, since obviously Smuggler's Run, when they launched the hangar there was a bunch of the customizable aircrafts to celebrate the new hangar, obviously. So there definitely should hopefully be a lot more potential for some Pegasus aircrafts, I feel, for probably the first time ever. So that's going to be pretty cool, I would say. And then, yeah, going to be a bunch more fluff here, kind of as well. It looks like to scroll through here. Okay, I think this is the last thing actually I was going to be going through for TES 2 here, at TES Funds 2. And it has to do with one of the Drifted airplanes, since they are increasing the hangar storage. They are having the McKenzie hangar basically for purchase as like a business property only, it seems, or whatever. And then, yeah, Gilly Master basically made a really good YouTube video going over some of the stuff basically with the brand new Titan that will be coming into the game basically. And yeah, they almost basically got it perfect, aside from like one thing basically. Now the gameplay you actually see here is with like maybe a single line of coding being changed. But apparently currently in the game with how it's set up, if you hit like the back of the vehicle, which apparently homing missiles with how they home in will basically be doing that practically every single time, and with the sheer big size and not necessarily going to be the most speediest aircraft, yeah, that's probably going to happen a lot. The parts on the back of the plane will basically get destroyed, and you will essentially lose control of the aircraft pretty much. So yeah, the vehicle, this huge plane was apparently almost perfect, surprisingly, given a lot of the huge planes are not the greatest in the game, such as like the Bombushka, Volatile, the Alchemist, I think are the big couple pretty much. That aren't like the cargo plane that's not obviously really obtainable. Yeah. Apparently this one was actually almost perfect, but then that had to be a thing. So, really sucks. They somehow just never get these big planes correct, even though they did get really close again. And then, yeah, floorball this time. Yeah, for some reason, a couple of the people I usually go over didn't have a lot or like anything at all. In the case of like a wild brick like 142, I usually go over as well, whatever. But yeah, credit the floorball at floorball underscores whatever on like Twitter / X basically. Yeah, they reveal a couple outfit things basically for like seasonal outfits. Looks like a bald eagle outfit, which obviously, yeah, there's Independence Day, and maybe this suggests the summer DLC might be a later summer DLC this time, coming in like mid-July or something, who knows. And yeah, this next summer DLC could maybe even be the last update, depending on like when the next game comes out, obviously, finally. So, I will bring up though, they have had Independence Day contents, I think, in winter updates before, and would basically push it into the actual summer DLC, so it is possible that this releases for next DLC, but apparently you can actually see it in the game right now, whether they release this update or summer update comes early enough for them to release it there instead. We'll have to wait and see, basically. And then it looks like 420, like the weed kind of celebrations, like April 20th, basically 420, like smoke weed, all that kind of shit. 2 outfits for that. Seems they're going to be celebrating it bigger than ever before. Couple outfits there. I don't actually remember if like any of the sources I'm going through in particular here actually mention stuff of it, but sounds like there might be like adversary modes and stuff maybe tied to it as well. Maybe using like Omar's character and all that kind of stuff, like with the story they pretty much established with the contract DLC, whatever. But yeah, I think when Ruffy1322 did that video I kind of mentioned earlier, he did have the Youga Custom, whatever, like weed vehicle in there. So it's going to be tied to like a mission adversary mode or something, basically. Like, might be a whole new variant of it with like a little different function, basically. So they seem to be gearing up for some huge 420 celebrations. That's definitely going to be pretty cool. Alright, Need for Madness Auto here. The last person I'm going over will have like the rest of the Drifted vehicles, but here's where I'll start with Drifted vehicles. This one, for some reason, was not included in the post from like Need for Madness Auto at Need for Madness A here on Twitter, X/X basically. Yes. Apparently the Western Duster 300H here is going to be a new plane of the game. Looks to be a new version of Duster, essentially, like an updated Duster. Obviously with the new aircraft systems, and obviously the original Dusters from literally 2013, this one will be able to be customized as a personal aircraft. You will need a hangar for this one, obviously, like the newer aircrafts. It's not Pegasus at all. Oh, and if I said Warstock, by the way, it's actually not Warstock. I'll go down, actually, as well. Here, I think this is all that I need to go over here. So the buy it now price for this vehicle will be $1,020,000, and it will have a trade price, bringing it down to $765,000. And then trade prices, I think, are essentially like a 25% discount, like a pertinent one if you do like a certain task. And yeah, a certain task is probably tied to that part 2 thing with like the McKenzie like hangar or whatever. Some of those like missions, whatever, surely. So you can actually get this vehicle as low as like a 6-digit price even without like a discount for like an event week, which is pretty nice. Which, yeah, like an updated Duster and whatnot, yeah, probably a fair price for something like that. While I won't be able to prove anything with it on like the video, it does apparently get access to front mount machine guns and at least having countermeasures, I believe, as well. But yeah, it's just going to have front mount machine guns, not the greatest. I believe Going Master made a trophy vehicle. I kind of watched like a video thing that I watched, and he said it was going to be like it killed like a huge like single player jet, since I think he modded in like single player in like 5 seconds. And apparently, according to like some coding, it's kind of like a copy paste of the Akula guns, which are not necessarily the greatest apparently. So yeah, the guns aren't really going to be the greatest thing. And yeah, being another Duster and given out like the other Duster doesn't handle the greatest and stuff per se, Yeah, I don't necessarily see this being a super amazing aircraft if you're not a huge aircraft person, but like I said, with the new hangar storage, you'll be able to own all the personal aircrafts and even have a bunch of like Pegasus ones as well now, finally. So, no reason I would not recommend getting this vehicle personally. I think it will be a nice vehicle addition. And then the rest of the vehicles, I'll be going through Arthur at _Arthur1781, whatever, on Twitter /X, X basically. Since fuck the left-leaning, like, butterfly shit, whatever, but yes. Invetero Coquette D5, basically, just start off for a legendary motorsport for a defeat vehicle here. Besides for obviously the Duster, that for some reason was not included. But yeah, while I didn't get to show the price, that's basically the price, by the way, on that Duster, since I didn't get to show it off on the vehicle website, since I couldn't really find anything about it anywhere. And I was searching a lot, basically. Because, like I said, the usual sources, a lot of them have not been active for some reason. But yes, Invetero Coquette D5, basically another Invetero Coquette D something like they had in the previous DLC with the Invetero Coquette D1. That one was a Sports Classics vehicle. This one, like the Coquette D10, for example, like the one-to-ones in the Drew feed and in the trailer and whatnot. That, yeah, the number with the D is basically half of that, D10 to D5, which is interesting, I guess. This one, at least the rear, kind of reminds me of the one of the Grand Theft Auto 4 Coquette, which is pretty interesting. I don't know if this is kind of basically a carbon copy of the GTA 4 like Coquette necessarily, but yeah, not necessarily the GTA game I play the most, since I have to whip up the 360 personally, which I don't necessarily play the most compared to more recent systems per se. But yeah, at least the rear does remind me of the GTA 4 Coquette, which is definitely pretty cool. So I think this is definitely a pretty nice vehicle. $1,730,000. Looks like there should be no trade price at all for that one, like you obviously usually have for the stuff. Now I don't know if it's going to have a missile lock-on jammer or anything. I'll say that right now, since yeah, never know, especially with this DLC where they've been a lot more lenient in terms of letting vehicles have lock-on jammers, since it seems they've been listening to the community requesting that they open up the missile lock-on jammer to a lot more vehicles. I wouldn't necessarily doubt that has the option, but like, yeah, it's not obviously going to be armored, so like it's not going to be the most useful even with it. So like, yeah, I could see this being a kind of quickish sports car. Definitely, I could definitely see it being kind of up there in the performance, no doubt. Besides for the new Banshee, obviously, that has the HSW treatment from day one. It's obviously not going to pretty much be topping that, I would say. For the Banshee GTS. That apparently has, like, one of the best top speeds of the game for the HSW version in particular. That's apparently best top speed, even better top speed than, like, all the helicopters in the game and only behind, like, 13 planes, just to give an idea of how quick that is top speed-wise. So yeah, this is definitely naturally for the HSW one, as you would definitely pretty much be able to expect. But yeah, I definitely think it can be a pretty nice one. Yeah, probably going to be up to like 115 sports cars in the game, which is absolute madness. And then Severn San Andreas has two of them, it looks like, one of which was already shown. And I'm going into order, like, off of release order for the particular sites, by the way, since obviously Legendary only has the one. Yeah, obviously I only went over that one. So yeah, starting off, the first one, as you would expect, since it's in early access for PlayStation 5, Xbox Series X/S, is the Vapid Firebolt ASP. So this definitely reminds me a bit of the Dominator ASP that they added for the muscle car class in the Last of Santos Tuners DLC. One of those, like, original, like 15, 17-ish, whatever, like tuner subclass vehicles, having ASP in the name, obviously. So you may kind of think it could be like a muscle car, like truck-like vehicle, basically, kind of similar to something like the Yosemite, and also having like a namesake similar to the Dominator ASP or something. But no, this is actually an off-road class vehicle. So yeah, there might be people who might be a little disappointed in that, apparently, but personally I'm kind of fine with it because it is also a second option for the off-road HSW options in particular, whatever. It is an off-road vehicle with an HSW upgrade. In fact, you can already see in the game right now if you go on that laptop I mentioned earlier for the drift vehicles, you can see the upgrades for there. You can see the HSW upgrades on that same laptop if you are on PlayStation 5, Xbox Series XS. And you should be able to see already that you can actually do the Firebolt ASP for that when you do get it, actually. So again, this should be in early access pretty soon with the next event. So shouldn't have to wait too much longer for the early access, for the partial release. But yeah, as for the full release, who knows when they'll do that. I could see it being one of the earlier vehicles for releasing since it's literally already in early access still, like I kind of suggested. And yeah, I already went over that price earlier. On to the next one here is the Vapid Uranus Lozspeed. Lozspeed, whatever the hell. I'll go with Lozspeed. Sounds cooler to me. And yeah, this is kind of the comeback of the Uranus from like Grand Theft Auto 4 and episodes from Liberty City, which is pretty cool. This is a sports classics vehicle. It seems to have been doing a couple of those more recently with the Coquette D1, like I mentioned earlier. And now this. It is a $1,140,000 one. So yeah, kind of a bit of a pricier sports classics. I don't necessarily feel like a lot of them tend to be the most priciest. Like you even have like the Turismo Classic even without the HSW, that's like a 6-digit value. So yeah, pretty cool. Kind of a comeback of the Uranus from Grand Theft Auto 4 episodes of Liberty City. I think there were like wrecks of the vehicle in day one of the game actually for Grand Theft Auto 5 for the Uranus run that game. I think there's wrecks of it. Now I don't know if it's going to be the same one, obviously, as the wrecks that would be in the single player and all that kind of stuff right now. It might be like a newer version of that, obviously, since otherwise I'd probably call it just Uranus, I'm guessing. Since that's probably what it definitely would have been called in 2013 if they released it then. Just the regular Uranus, obviously. But yeah, cool to see a kind of throwback vehicle for GTA 4 for sure this time. Compared to the Coquette D5, that could be a little more of its own thing compared to what I suggested. And then, when you get the war stock is where you get the ones of like all the trade prices, aside for the elitist website having the Duster, like I said earlier, that also has a trade price. Now, yeah, on Wednesday, I was pretty much starting to prepare for this on Wednesday. The community kind of gets, some community members actually get early access details for like the event weeks, basically, such as like GTA series videos. And they'll basically get like an insight of like what's to come in like less than 24 hours from there. So it kind of sounded like, I believe it was a taco van, this, and then that. Free vehicles for the next event. So I believe these are the next free here. So Agents of Sabotage here, obviously, with the taco van being passed that free police predator that I think expired as of the 15th of December, basically. I believe they said it was up to. So yeah, the freeness of this vehicle has expired as of a few days. But anyways, the taco van. Buy it now price of $345,000. Trade price of $258,750. Don't know if there's necessarily like missions with this vehicle, like they kind of done with the Pizza Boy delivery stuff, whatever, for the last DLC. For like another food type kind of mission. I don't think they ever really did taco missions in particular in the previous GTA game, as far as I remember, definitely. So it would kind of be an original kind of like vehicle mission, I believe, for the online this time around. So, yes. Taco Van. Whether it has new missions or not, I have to wait and see. Didn't really see it on any like sources I could find or anything per se. I think it is used in one of the 2 new dispatch works, so I don't know if they're just adding it for that, even if they like don't add like a vehicle mission for it or anything, so it could just be for that little reason. But it's basically just a day 1 taco van, it seems. I don't necessarily think it's a whole new version of the vehicle as far as I've heard. And apparently it's just a 1-seater. I thought it was, kind of always thought it was 2-seater, but no, apparently it's a 1-seater. So that's pretty interesting. But yeah, not too interesting, obviously, there. And then there is a police variant of that faction, basically, the Outreach Faction, it sounds like. Has a pretty interesting naming with Outreach, kind of the first one kind of named that way. For the police vehicles, has a buy it now price of $4,150,000, trade price of $3,112,500. And yeah, going back to this one, kind of a little quick actually, the trade price probably going to be tied maybe to the dispatch work. Even if there's already a police vehicle from earlier that might be tied to that, I wouldn't be surprised if that's the requirement for the trade price on this. But yes, Outreach Faction. It's a police variant of the faction, obviously, from the Lowriders DLC. That also returns from like Grand Theft 4, like episodes in Liberty City for the civilian version in particular, obviously, not the police one, which is obviously original to GTA Online. Yeah. It's basically a police vehicle that has like hydraulics on it. So it will actually be able to do hydraulics like the Lowrider one, which is pretty interesting. Asides for that, as far as I remember from the customization videos, it's actually pretty basic on customization asides for that. So yeah, it's kind of going to be pretty basic scenes for customization asides for hydraulics. So a little disappointing there, I guess, compared to other police vehicles. But I mean, hydraulics on a police vehicle definitely would be pretty cool. And I think they said a little blurb in like their day 1 newswire suggesting that you might be able to get a little early access to these vehicles for like a random event or something. I'm not really too sure. I wasn't really able to figure out like what they meant with that though, so I didn't really get to do that myself. But yeah, regardless, apparently it's releasing pretty soon here. If not by the time I get this out, basically. And then next is the one from the trailer that was mysteriously missing from day 1, obviously, with basically knowing at that point it was going to be a drifty vehicle. Has a buy it now price of $5,620,000 and then a trade price of $4,215,000. And yeah, honestly, I don't really know what the trade prices for these are going to require per se. There's only 2 dispatch works that were new, which might have already had trade prices for like existing vehicles for the DLC, so like I don't know how they're going to do that. Again, it could be something to do with that like one thing where you could have got apparently early access, according to something in the day 1 Rockstar newswire. I don't know if it's some like random event thing or something or what. Regardless, when it does officially come out, you should be able to see those requirements for the trade prices, which again for these 2 should be out pretty soon, if not by the time this is out. But yeah, it's basically a police variant of the Coquette D10. And yeah, obviously I expect these would perform similar to the civilian counterparts. If anything, I would see like an increase in like top speed or something slightly or something, since police vehicles obviously pursue criminals and whatnot. So like a top speed increase I feel would be the most logical way to could even do a performance bump and also keep it pretty similar to the original release of the vehicle. Which I forget, was Coquette D10 like 2019 or 2020, like one of the casino updates, Los Santos Summer Special. I kind of forget which one. Kind of lean towards Summer Special, I think. So yeah, either way, police variant of the Coquette D10, pretty cool. see that pretty much. I definitely would see these two having lock-on jammers like the other police vehicles so far. I really don't necessarily see them having the armor though, like the Terminus one. I think the Terminus only really got the armor plating because the original one did for Chop Shop. And obviously the original ones of these don't have armor. And then getting into some of the more interesting vehicles, in my opinion, of the game. You have the DH-7 Iron Mule, which is a 16-seater helicopter, believe it or not. Wow, man. I think it's the very first 16-seater helicopter that's in the game. That's pretty insane, actually. But yeah. This vehicle does have a bit of like explosive resistance to it. I think it takes something like 6 rockets or something, I believe. But again, I did mention Gilly Master. I might leave him in the description since I have been mentioning him a bit. He does some pretty good in-depth videos on this and this vehicle, just not the Duster in terms of the like super interesting vehicles, in my opinion, for the DLC. But this is basically like a Mark II version of the Cargo Bob in a sense, essentially, which is pretty cool. In fact, the appearance kind of reminds me of the San Andreas one, but also maybe like a cross of the Leviathan from San Andreas. It kind of reminds me of, color-wise, I feel it reminds me of Leviathan, while having kind of a similar-ish kind of appearance to the San Andreas Cargo Bob, which is interesting. So obviously this time it will have like the hook to it, like the other Cargo Bob. In fact, in the game files, I think it's called like Cargo Bob 5 or something in the game file, so it is pretty much another Cargo Bob, even though it has like an original name to it. But yes, even though it does have an original name, it is apparently in the game files another Cargo Bob, it sounds like. But yeah, 16-seater helicopter. Finally getting a 16-seater helicopter. That's really insane. I never thought I would see a 16-seater helicopter actually in the game. That's pretty crazy. Kind of wish they were able to do like 30 players, just to be able to fit a whole session, just because why not? But you can fit a whole legacy, like Xbox 360, PS3, old school edition, like lobby in the vehicle at least. Which again, I didn't expect. It's pretty tight. And then a Titan 250D basically is a Mark II version, obviously, of the Titan. This one being a lot more obvious, being named like that. But yeah, DH-7 Iron Mule actually go into that. $2,345,000 for buy now price. $1,758,750 trade price. So yeah, surely tied to missions, whatever, for the McKenzie Hangar, just like the Duster. But yeah, again, back to Titan 250D. Apparently it does have a manufacturer, they just don't put it on like the website. It has a new manufacturer, in fact, called like Eberhard or something like that, I think it's called. I might not look the most into the name, so I might have got a little bit wrong, but it's something similar to that at least. Apparently there's going to be a new vehicle manufacturer. It's basically a new version of the Titan. Pretty cool. It's actually an attack one this time as well. There's 3 different guns on it, basically. I think it's like something like a 20mm, like 45mm, and like something like a 105mm or something. I don't know if I got all of those ones correct for the numbers there, but like 3 different explosive guns. One that has like 1 bullet, one that has like 5, I think, and then one that has like 30. Pilot can actually use the one that has like 5, I believe. Oh, and that reminds me, I'm talking functionality here. I should talk about more functionality here. Again, this one's basically a Mark II, like more armored, like Cargo Bob. There's also the ability, I believe there's a camera that you can actually look at to kind of get a better, like, look at, like, if you're going to be able to hook onto a vehicle instead of having, like, do a bunch of guesswork like you do with the Cargo Bob. And also with the Cargo Bob and this, they actually buffed, like, the carrying weight capacities, whatever that they can handle. So stuff you couldn't carry before, well, like something like an Insurgent, even a Chernobog in a slight extent, even though apparently the Cargo Bob still suffers there, you can actually carry those easier than you could before. Especially when this Iron Mule comes out. It should apparently be a little better at the carrying of vehicles than the Cargo Bob right now. So yeah, again, sorry I forgot to mention functionality stuff here. But anyways, the Titan 250D. Yeah, buy it now price $4,870,000. And then trade price of $3,652,500. Again, surely tied to some missions with the McKenzie Field Hangar, basically. Again, another 16-seater, which will tie with the Miljet, which might be only the second plane in the game to be able to fit a legacy PlayStation 3, Xbox 360 lobby, basically. Or at least initially, I think, until they possibly added like 17 and 18 players. I forget. For those older versions of GTA Online, that obviously have been gone for like a couple years or so now. But yeah. Apparently tied with the Miljet for like storage capacity for a plane, which I think makes it only like the second one, which is pretty insane. But yeah, pilot, maybe co-pilot, though that might also be a gunner seat. Yeah, pilot, like 3 gunner seats, maybe like 12 traditional seats, I'm guessing on that one. But man, no, you can have whole armies of players in those, apparently. Holy fucking shit, man. Yeah, I feel this DLC definitely has some of the best drifty vehicles I feel of any DLC in like a long time, at least. That is definitely going to be pretty insane. I feel no doubt on that. And yeah, I already mentioned the issue with it right now earlier, by the way. Yeah, watch out for homing missiles unless they fix it. They can hotfix it, apparently, according to what I've heard from like Tez2. I think he made like a tweet about it, and they should be able to hotfix that if they want to. But yeah, I feel they don't manage the vehicles too well in DLCs. Like, I believe like the Illusion had like headlight that didn't work the most properly until literally next DLC. So don't be surprised they leave it like that at least till next DLC, or maybe they intentionally want to leave it like that. Who fucking knows? See, I wouldn't necessarily get your hopes up that they fix something like that, aside for possibly like a single mission or something. I mean, mission variants also can usually be like more armored and stuff at times. You know, they do that basically. So that should finally take care of all the drip feed vehicles, essentially. And then, yeah, new police outfits. That's basically like all those like ones I showed earlier. Seems you might even be able to see those park ranger ones, or maybe not actually. Yeah, I think it was actually news in there in just 8. Yeah, it might be doing that for PC, and obviously a few of those were exclusive PlayStation 5, Xbox Series X, as like I previously explained. But again, credit to these, it's been a while, to Arthur _ Arthur 1781 for the last of what I'm going for here for the most part. You also apparently will be able to get this new gold Snake Santo Capra outfit. And it's going to be tied to a collectible set, I believe, as I will mention, since, yeah, they did do the new collectible scanner, pretty much. And, yeah, obviously with a new collectible scanner, they're going to pretty much want to release new collectibles, so you actually have a use for it if you have already collected everything beforehand. Like myself, for the most part, as far as I remember. And then, yeah, that's going to be all those locations for said collectible, and it gets you that outfit, it seems. New Jiffy collectible here will be a Yuan or something like that. Whatever the hell. There's 36 of them total, and that will get you that outfit, apparently. Jiffy McKenzie Field Hangar. Apparently it's going to cost $1,475,000. I assume it's going to be like the Garment Factory, where there's no modifications and you just pay the one price. It kind of looks like there's a bed in there, so like I think you should be able to use it as a spawn location if you want. So that's going to be pretty cool. But again, it's not a true full hangar. Again, you just get your 20 slots for the hangar for your existing hangar. You don't even get to buy like Forza and Kiddo and the LSIA finally as like an actual secondary hangar. Which, yeah, probably would create some like complications with the business system, maybe if they allowed you to purchase a second one. So I can kind of get why they just do it for the existing hangar. Just sucks you don't get to use the benefits of both Forza and Kiddo LSIA with what will be coming, it seems. And then for the awards here, Yeah, I think there's 11 more awards there, it looks like. Because I think currently there's 9. Looks like there's 16. Or no, 4 per row, that would be 20 actually. So yeah, 11 new awards, like I was basically saying. I'll let people, obviously, I'll probably be linking the person, obviously, in the description, so if you want to see those more in detail, I'll obviously be doing that. And yeah, this screenshot here apparently looks like you can call like a personal aircraft at the McKenzie hangar. Again, even though it's not a proper hangar, it seems we'll be able to do something like that. And it seems you can even kind of rent like a regular traditional 2013 Duster and then that new Duster as well. I assume the new Duster is not going to have like the machine guns on it, is what I'm going to guess there though. And obviously if you want that, you would just do personal aircraft or something instead, if you have one. And yeah, it looks like as you would expect, Oscar will be a new contact. Oscar was a huge character when it came to the McKenzie hangar in the story mode. So it looks like Oscar Guzman will be coming back, though I think he might have already been mentioned earlier on like something for the video here. And then finally, to end off this video here, again, Driftfeed's kind of more on the insane side, I feel, in terms of the vehicles and whatnot, so sorry if it's pretty long here, but still. Arms Trafficking Missions. Apparently if you complete 50 of those, it looks like you get to complete the award. It just says something about award, doesn't necessarily say platinum, but obviously I'm guessing the award for platinum is 50. I feel if anything, it's like Reddit online that has like the huger requirements for like the platinum awards there, like the gold awards, whatever, that you can then reset once you fully complete it for like gold nuggets, depending on like which one it is. I think GTA Online awards are usually on the smaller side, I think. So yes, fucking 50 of these armed trafficking missions apparently gets you an award, which is pretty cool. Again, I assume it's platinum, kind of 50 for these, just like it is for like dispatch work and whatnot, I believe currently. I don't know if it will count, obviously, for the 9 like awards for the Firebolt ASP. I don't know if it usually just counts the ones from like day 1 of an update, since those ones are obviously the ones that are business focused for like the garment factory. I don't know if these like arms trafficking ones will realistically count for something like that, but if you are an award completionist, this should be a pretty nice DLC for some new awards to shoot for or something. And yeah, I think that is pretty much going to be it for this video here. Again, pretty wild ones, and the Drifty vehicle is pretty detailed of like all the 16 seats and whatnot you can see on a couple of those vehicles. When you see that and like knowing all kinds of details of some of those new aircrafts, yeah, the Driftfeed vehicle is pretty insane this time around. So again, really sorry this one's like probably super long, but yeah. It's finally going to truly be it for this video here. Hope you enjoyed.